BYU steals the show this weekend. Let's break it all down right here on the Red, Royal, and Blue podcast. Welcome into the Red, Royal, and Blue podcast. I'm Tate Goodlow, and today we're going to be breaking down the only game of the week in the state of Utah, BYU taking on West Virginia at LaVell Edwards Stadium. Going into this game, BYU opened at a 20.5 point favorite. The line has now dropped down to 18.5. BYU sitting at 4-0, 1-0 in conference play, and West Virginia sitting at 2-3, 0-2 in conference play. Coming into this game, West Virginia is coming off a brutal loss at home versus Utah, losing 48-14, and BYU is coming off of a nail-biting win at Colorado, 24-21. Going into this game, West Virginia is extremely banged up. I have their injury report, and they lost even more players than they already had out, and it's really gonna hurt. It's really gonna hurt them moving forward. So, Nico Marchiol, QB, will be out of the rest of the season. Their backup QB Jalen Henderson is out for this game. Running back Jaheim White is out for the game. Wide receiver Orion Singleton out for the game. Wide receiver Jaden Bray out for the game. And then O-lineman Cooper Young, safety Julian Horton, and D-end Devin Grant, all listed out for this game. That's not good. That is not good for West Virginia at all. Those are bad positions to have so many injuries at. You look at the stats for West Virginia. Their team leaders rushing yards is Jalen Henderson, who is out. Their passing yards is Nico Marchiol, who is out. Cam Vaughn, their wide receiver, is their leading receiving yards. He is not out. And their running back is out as well. So it's really going to be tough for West Virginia in this game. They're already super thin. This is at LaVell Edwards Stadium at night. 65,000 plus fans are going to be there. It's going to be a chilly night. I'll be in attendance. I think I'm going to try and grab some clips from the stadium and throw them in the postcast episode. But yeah, this is going to be an uphill battle for West Virginia for sure. I think from the jump, BYU is going to be on them. And this is going to be a tough game for West Virginia, I think. BYU is also missing a couple players in this one. We have Sione Moa is out with an injury. Jake Hatch from Locked On Cougars said that he had emergency surgery due to this injury. So the coaching staff said they're expecting to have him back at some point this season. I don't think they've disclosed what the injury was, though. Some pictures have been circulating online of him with crutches and some, looks like stitches on his thigh. So I'm not really sure what the injury is. But, yeah, I do think that Sione Moa is going to be out for at least a couple weeks. JoJo Phillips obviously still out, but I think that BYU is a lot healthier than West Virginia is going into this game. Looking at the season stats, Bear Bachmeier has thrown for 697 yards. He has 6 passing touchdowns and 4 rushing touchdowns, no turnovers. LJ Martin is going to be huge in this game. He has 400 yards on the year on 55 carries, and he has a touchdown. Chase Roberts is going to be a problem for West Virginia. He has 16 receptions for 234 yards and 3 touchdowns. And I don't know if this O-line can stop Jack Kelly. He leads in sacks and tackles. He has 4 sacks and 19 tackles thus far through only 4 games. West Virginia they're gonna struggle. After watching their game against Utah, they could not move the ball. The defense was constantly on the field, and that defense got worn down quickly. It felt like every time Utah touched the ball in that one, they were going for a score. And West Virginia couldn't really do anything about it. late in the game they started to score a couple points and move the ball once they made a change at quarterback, but um, there was really not much that West Virginia was doing offensively. Um, like I said, they lost 48-14 to Utah. Um, when Khalil Wilkins came in, he passed for a touchdown, um, 3 for 6. Like I said, also last week they only threw 13 passes, so I think BYU is definitely gonna come into this game ready to stop the run, and that's what they're really gonna focus on. Um, and they ran the ball relatively well. They ran for 261 against Utah, but they only passed for 85 yards. So going into this one, I think that West Virginia is definitely the underdog, and it's very clear why. Looking at their past games and what they've been able to do, um, it's going to be interesting to see what kind of defense BYU comes out in, because the game against Colorado, they came out and they looked unprepared for what Colorado had. Um, gave up 14 quick points, and then they finally figured it out. Something that West Virginia is going to do that BYU really struggles with is run the football with the quarterback specifically. When the quarterback is running the ball against BYU, they tend to struggle with that. We saw that with Caden Salter. Caden Salter ran all over the Cougs until they started having a QB spy with Jack Kelly, and that helped out a lot. But BYU's defense has started to give up some points. They started the year 0 against Portland State, 3 against Stanford, 13 against East Carolina, now 21 against Colorado. I don't think that West Virginia is getting that many points in this one. I think that BYU's defense is too stout for this West Virginia offense, especially with the QB issues they have. I don't even know what quarterback is going to be rolled out for this game for West Virginia, given that Markiel and Henderson are both injured. I'm assuming it's going to be Wilkins, but I guess we'll see on that one. They might run a couple different quarterbacks. But, as it stands, BYU is an 18.5 point favorite. Over-under is 46.5. And BYU is minus 1,200. Matchup predictor on ESPN only gives West Virginia a 5.1% chance to win. But yeah, I think that BYU is definitely ready for this game. I think that they've had, it's been a short week for both teams. It's been shorter for West Virginia given the travel. I'm not sure what day they are traveling on. I'd assume it's probably yesterday to get ready for the time change, but it might be today. But yeah, West Virginia's had a day less to prepare. And yeah, I think that BYU is going to come into this game ready. And I think they're going to cover the spread. But I think BYU shouldn't have any issues. Utah and Utah State are both on bye weeks. They're going to go and get everybody healthy, and then they'll be back the following week. I think Utah has Arizona State, and Utah State is traveling to Hawaii, or maybe they're at home against Hawaii. Regardless, Utah State has Hawaii. Utah has Arizona State after their bye week. And with that, let's move on to the score predictions. All right, it's time for score predictions, and this week we only have one game to predict. I'll keep it quick with this one. I think BYU covers. I think BYU isn't going to have much trouble moving the ball. I don't think West Virginia is going to be able to slow down the rushing attack. And we'll see how their coverage does. I don't think they're going to be able to cover Chase Roberts, especially. Cody Hagan coming around the edge and Parker Kingston on jet sweeps and things like that. I definitely don't think they're going to be able to slow down Bears' running ability. Getting right into the prediction, I'm going to go BYU 31, West Virginia 7. I don't think BYU's defense is going to give West Virginia much to work with. I think it's going to be, quick drives for West Virginia, and I think their defense is going to get worn out, and BYU is just going to pound the rock, and they're just going to move the ball down the field on the ground, and then throwing a pass here and there, and really keep West Virginia's defense on the field and keep them tired. So that's my prediction, 31-7 for the Cougars. Like I said, I'll be at this game. I'll try and get some clips that I can put into next episode. But yeah, that's the score prediction. And with that, let's head to the outro. Thank you all so much for tuning into this episode of the Red, Royal, and Blue podcast. I know it's a shorter episode, but there's only one game to cover this week. You can find me on YouTube and Spotify at the Red, Royal, and Blue podcast. Make sure you come back on Sunday for the postcast edition, and I'll see you there.